Taco never gives up. Taco is tough. Taco is resourceful. Taco has some real tenacity. Hey, Taco the tenacious one. So I've begun Vagabond. I'm excited. It already looks like it's going to be a classic. I'm going to do a character analysis just from the initial people that we meet in the first chapter or so. The first one is Taco. Taco is a survivor of the Battle of Saki. And he's a young man. He's only 17 years of age. But I will say that Taco has some real tenacity. Hey, Taco the tenacious one. He's tough. Taco, tenacious and tough. Boy, that's just working out great. He's a tough little dude. He's probably big. And he's one of the first to roll over, get to his knees, then to his feet, to stand up and say, whoa, I survived. And I'm not ready to die yet. He goes around looking for anyone else who might be alive, and what he sees is death. Everywhere is death. I get the impression from the pictures that there's 1,000 dead soldiers on the ground from this epic battle. And so he goes looking for his friend, Manny. And he finds Manny face down, probably the same way that Taco was just a few minutes ago, or maybe an hour ago. But Manny seems, though alive, quite content to lie there face down. Maybe he said to himself, Manny has, that, I'm spent, I'm done. This war didn't turn out the way I thought it would. I'll just wait for someone to put a spear through my back and die here. Taco says nothing doing. He kicks him over and says, come on, Manny, let's go. And Manny's like, dude, I'm really exhausted. Taco says, come on, get up. He helps him to his feet. They both get up, but it's apparent that Manny is staggering. Now, we learn within a few pages that they haven't eaten anything but grass for 4 days. Grass is not a healthy diet for a human being. After all, the only grass we technically eat is wheat and rye and corn and things like that. But we don't eat the grass part, we eat the seeds. Well, they're eating the grass. Grass is for cows, not for human beings. And so what little they can derive from the eating of grass, they struggle to get to their feet, or technically Taco struggles to get Manny to his feet, and off they go. We learn something about Manny from this, though, that he doesn't have the psyche of his friend Taco. Because Taco was up and let's get at him. We can't lie down here and die. Whereas Manny was surrendered already. He'd said, this war didn't go the way I thought it would. Maybe I'll just lie here. Well, thank goodness, Manny, you got a friend like Taco, because he isn't going to let you sit there. And Taco is carrying his friend. Doesn't mean Taco isn't exhausted too. He is. But he's got a bit more in him. You could call it spine, you could call it willpower, whatever. But he helps his friend along, and they start on a march. And their thought is simple. Let's get some food and medicine in us. We're not going to last long like this. And they know enough about warfare that the people who swoop in after a battle are looking for free stuff. Swords, boots, armor, gold, jewelry, you name it. That's what they want. And if you lie there on the ground long enough, they'll take your boots and they'll probably even pull the fillings out of your teeth. So they, because of Taco, know enough to get moving. And they do. But the danger isn't over. Taco puts his friend Manny on a little rock and says, look, I'm going to go look for firewood or food or anything I can scrounge up that will help us survive. And little does Manny know, but someone is sneaking up on him, and it's a samurai. Now, Manny's so out of it because, like I said, he's a beaten man. The samurai can sneak up right on him. And the foolish samurai thinks this is an easy mark. I can take him out without any effort whatsoever. And he's about to, but Manny gets a glimpse of him and is able to dive out of the way before he loses his head. So we'll give Manny that. He had enough in him to realize he doesn't want to die on that battlefield. The good news is Manny is just trying to crawl away. Sometimes retreat is the better part of valor, and he knows that, and he is trying to get out of the way of this samurai. But he needs help. And who should come to his aid? His buddy Taco. Because Taco never gives up. Taco is tough. Taco is resourceful. And he's got a big, thick oak branch with him. And he uses that against not only the first samurai, but the second one who's attacking him. And these samurai are armed to the teeth. Tako's not. Like I say, he's just got a stick. Well, he's able to overcome 2 samurai with that stick to save his friend's life. So what do we gather from that? We gather that of the 2, if you want to be in a foxhole, do you want to be in there with Manny, a whole bunch of Mannies, or a whole bunch of tacos? I'll take all the tacos that I could get a hold of, because you're going to survive a battle with tacos. But I'm not giving up on Manny, because I'm allowing for the fact that he is just mentally and physically and spiritually exhausted. Let's get a couple of meals in him. Let's get him up. Let's get his wounds healed. And let's find out what our 2 characters are really like, because we do not know now. I will say this about both of them. They come from the same town, and clearly they were friends before this battle. But they went off to battle foolishly, like young people do. C.S. Lewis has a mention about war is hell. He was in World War I, and he wanted to make it clear to his audience that there is no romance to war. It is blood and guts. And these 2 young men have just been introduced to that truth. And so they are heading for a town, but they do not make it. They collapse. They wake up having been rescued, if you will, by 2 women. One, a very young girl, and her mother, Oolong. And she's a beautiful gal who's lost her husband. He was murdered. And so I would define her as a survivor. It's post-war. It's really tough on women post-war, because they've lost their sons, they've lost their husbands, sometimes they lose their daughters too. But somehow Oolong is clinging to everything and has managed to survive in this horrible time. She has a young daughter who's 15, whose name I'm calling Mimi. She's a lovely little girl too. Takes after her mother, who's really quite gorgeous. Mimi has helped bring the boys back, but they didn't really go to bring boys back. They went to glean from this savage battlefield. They want swords, boots, anything of value. After all, the people wearing them now have no use for them anymore. And so they're in the process of gathering. But what do we discover? That they care more about people than they do about goods. And so they're able to take these 2 boys back to their home. There's more to come, but this is where I stopped in the chapter. We're going to find out a lot more, I think, about these 2 ladies.